people, my name is Nicole and today I want to talk to you guys about the FemPowerAthon. So I've talked about this a couple times in videos before, just sort of mentioned it in passing. Here is my announcement video. The FemPowerAthon is a feminist read-a-thon focused on female empowerment and intersectionality that will be taking place this March. It was created by myself and Taylicious Reads. We have a whole bunch of really great hosts that are helping us out with this on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. The read-a-thon is going to be taking place from March 19th to the 26th, and we have a whole bunch of really fun reading challenges for that week. So I'm going to be giving you guys my recommendations for what you should read during this read-a-thon. Of course, they're just recommendations if you guys are struggling to find a book that fits with some of the challenges. So the first challenge is to read a book featuring a woman in a position of power, and for this I'm going to recommend A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. This is a sort of middle grade children's novel. It's one of the books that I grew up with, and I'm taking the term in a position of power kind of loosely here. Basically, this book is about a group of children who are going on an adventure across space and time to find their long-lost father. It's not really as sci-fi as that sounds. It has more of a fantasy feel, but for the women who are in positions of power, we have the children's mother, who is a prominent scientist, and then three other women, Mrs. Who, Mrs. Whatsit, and Mrs. Witch, who aren't quite human. They don't really have a specific job on Earth, so their position of power isn't so much a specific position so much as just they're really powerful. And they also serve as the sort of guides for these children as they go on their quest, as well as the sort of Dumbledore, Gandalf, wise old person bestowing wisdom upon the youngins kind of role. The main character in this book is also a highly intelligent young girl, and one of the main focuses of this book is on the importance of learning and educating youth, especially young girls, in math and sciences. The next challenge is to read a book featuring a prominent sister relationship, and for this I have Two Princesses of Bamar by Gail Carson Levine. This is another middle grade book that I grew up with. You know, children's books I feel like are good for readathons because they're usually fairly short and they're usually not particularly difficult to read, so you can read them fairly fast. Good for readathons. So in this book, the entire plot is driven by the love between these two sisters. They are the princesses of their kingdom, the kingdom of Bamar, hence the title. One of these sisters is bold and brave and wants to go out on adventures, and one of them is shy and timid and just wants to stay home and read. But one day the older sister gets sick with this horrific illness that has been plaguing the kingdom, and the younger sister has to go out on the quest that her older sister always dreamed of going on in order to find the cure. The next challenge is to read a book featuring a woman with a mental illness, and for that I have Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone. This is about a teenage girl with OCD. She is really struggling with this. She's terrified to tell any of her friends about it because her friends are very much the popular girls who talk a lot about shoes but not really a lot about each other's feelings or emotions. But one day she befriends a girl who shows her this sort of secret underground poetry group within their school where she really finds her place and has a chance to explore, understand, and really just get a handle on her mental illness. The next challenge is to read a feminist own voices novel, and for this I'm choosing Far From You by Tess Sharp. This is about a girl who just got out of rehab and now she is determined to figure out who killed her best friend slash kind of girlfriend just before she went into rehab. Throughout the story we see it flash back and forth between her trying to figure out what happened to her friend and her developing a relationship with her friend. We see her deal with chronic pain and figuring out her sexuality, all of which Tess Sharp has talked about also experiencing herself on Twitter. The next challenge is to read a feminist book not set in the Western world, and for this I'd like to recommend City of Saints and Thieves by Natalie Anderson. This book I have a full spoiler-free review for, which I will link in the doobly-doo if you guys want more extended information on it. And this is about a girl who she and her mother fled from the Congo as refugees and ended up in Kenya several years ago. Shortly after that her mom was murdered, and now several years later she's finally getting close to figuring out what happened to her mom and how to get her revenge. I feel like this book is really interesting because not only does it explore a setting and a culture I'm not super familiar with, that being Kenya and the Congo, it also has lots of discussion about the fact that the main character and her mother are refugees. And then the next challenge is to read a graphic novel written by a woman, and for this I have Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. This is one of my all-time favorite graphic novels. It's about this girl named Nimona who basically is a fangirl of the villain of her kingdom, and she joins up with him and is sort of his annoying sidekick, but there is so much bigger stuff going on that they don't really realize, and awesome things happen. It is hilarious and badass and amazing, and I highly recommend it. Sort of a secondary recommendation for this category, if you're more interested in comics than graphic novels, are Lumberjanes, for which Noelle Stevenson is also one of the co-writers. This series focuses on a group of girls at summer camp where all these crazy magical things kind of happen, and it's all presented in a very humorous, engaging, feminist light, and it's just so much fun to read. Now, there are 2 more challenges for the FemPowerAthon, and those are to read a book featuring an LGBT plus woman and to read a book featuring a woman of color. I gave my recommendations for those over on Taylicious Reads channel. All the hosts of this readathon and I did a video together in which we gave recommendations for these various challenges. So if these recommendations didn't work for you, there will be plenty more in that video, which I will link in the doobly-doo. Let me know what you guys think of my recommendations, of the challenges, if you guys are excited to join us for the FemPowerAthon. I know I'm really excited for it, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love you, and I will see you later.